All right, show me the promo.
Huh? The promo?
Yes, for this Friday. You know what? Just add music. Fade into a woman. No, a different one. Show people talking to her. Now zoom into her. Show the journey her mind goes on when she's asked a simple question.
Can you hear me? Tato.
And just as the journey ends, cut. Back to reality. Now we just need a name for it to describe this exact moment.
Brain clog?
Exactly. Now add the logo sting. They must know it's this Friday at 3 p.m. We are women. We are brave, strong, capable, unique. We are women to women.
Another Woman to Woman program for you today. And before I greet you all, good afternoon, South Africa, and to all our viewers, I want to make a question. Do you think we're really out of the pandemic? Do you see any chance of a fourth wave? Are you afraid that from the numbers we have recently of positive cases, we are going to have an increase? Girls, what do you think? So before you answer that, today we are going to explore something called brain clog. And I was trying to intoxicate your brain with so many questions and thoughts about what is to come. But before we go on, as my friend here says today, it's neuroscience on Woman to Woman. We are going to watch a promo. How do you think your brain responds to overthinking?
Here's a quick test. Do you rehash past conversations, dwell on your choices, or get trapped in a tunnel of what ifs? If this is you, then there's a pretty good chance that you are an overthinker. But you're not alone. According to the University of Michigan, 73% of adults between the ages of 25 and 35 tend to overthink. I'm sure by now that you are asking yourself, does all that mental strain affect my physical body? The scary answer is yes. Overthinking is a dangerous game and can have a lot of negative consequences on our well-being. So this is what happens to your body when you overthink. Number 1, you are less likely to take action. With so many options created by overthinking, you may end up unable to make a decision. This concept is called analysis paralysis. You may end up overthinking consequences that might not happen or even unrealistic outcomes. This can cause you to take the wrong actions. Number 2, you become less creative. A study from the UK discovered that when certain parts of your brain and cognitive processes are quiet, you are more creative. Overthinking, on the other hand, can lead to a mental rut. It causes you to run out of ideas or new solutions. Number 3, your energy levels might drop. It takes a lot of mental energy to overthink. Your brain is generating so many different thoughts and scenarios that aren't going towards anything productive. When we overthink and stress ourselves out, our bodies produce cortisol, the stress hormone. Over time, the constant release of cortisol can be depleting and cause burnout. And we learned all about burnout before. Number 4, it impacts your sleep. Lots of overthinkers struggle with falling asleep, shuffling through thoughts after thoughts, rather than shutting down and getting some much-needed rest. Your body needs to get into a state of calm in order to sleep. Your heart rate needs to go down, as does your blood pressure and breathing. Overanalyzing does the opposite. Once your sleep suffers, you will find yourself in a nasty state of exhaustion. Number 5, your appetite is affected. For some, overthinking can lead to a suppressed appetite, while for others, it can boost it. And this is the most common. Many people go for the tastiest and unhealthiest food when they're stressed because eating can be distracting or even soothing for them. But don't worry, We are not here to only deliver the doom and gloom. There are ways that you can control your tendency to overthink. So stay with us because we are going to give you ways to get you out of this self-inflicted and sometimes vicious cycle of overthinking.
But don't you think that it's still very scientific? So we decided to go to the streets and ask the youth out there, what do they think about brain clog? Do you think they know what it is?
It depends on their level of education, I think.
Let us check it out.
Hi everyone, my name is Esther and I am here in the city of Roses, Bloemfontein, and today we're going to ask questions about the brain. So it's time for you to be smart.
And my name is Nontigalele and I am from Rodipot.
Hi, my name is Akona and I am from Tata.
My name is Mapaseka and I am from Park Station.
My name is Ritumeti and I'm from Pretoria.
My name is Mbali and I am from Togoza.
My name is Winile and I am from the Val Triangle.
Hi there, my name is Esther. I am from Witbank, aka Imalaheni.
Hi guys, my name is Tisezo and we are here in Midrand. Today we'll be talking all about the brain. Time to get smart. Let's go.
So basically is when you can't really receive any information.
Brain clot is a clot that happens in the brain, normally when it's due to stress or fatigue.
Well, I understand that it's a big thing, especially for children going through matric right now. It could be a very tough time. This one term can determine someone's entire life. So especially when you're studying and you think you got the work and then the night before you get overwhelmed, you start being afraid, you start forgetting stuff. You get stressed like, what if I didn't touch this topic? What if I didn't go through this topic? And someone comes to you and asks you one question and you can lose the entire study routine that you've had.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't.
Well, it's a form of clotting that happens in the brain and it affects your vessels and oxygen might struggle to get to your brain and it causes a lot of, so yeah, that is my understanding of it.
It is caused by a fatty deposit that may cause the arteries, the blockage of the arteries.
That moment whereby you wish to say something or you want to say something, but somehow you just forget it.
I think it's a blockage in the brain, like in the vessels in the brain, that's caused by a clot or something.
It's freezing between the nerves, inside the nerves. It's what I can say. It's a blockage within the nerves.
Brain clog is when you are overthinking and you feel like your brain is going to burst and don't know how to do. You overthinking. Yes.
I think it's when your brain is filled with stress.
Yes, often.
When I have to do something.
When you have to do something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we experience it more often than we think. So maybe probably once a month or twice in 2 months.
I think on a scale of 1 to 10, within a week, plus minus 4 to 10.
So many times, because I can try to do something there. Then there would be that voice that would come to me and be like, boy, you're messing up now. Then I know that something is alerting me about something, you know.
Stay at home every day, daily, every day.
Mostly it's when I work with my assignments, when I'm busy with my assignments, because art. So with art, you need to think out of the box. You need to be creative. With every assignment you get, you need to do better than you've done last time. So yeah, that thing can lead to a blocked mind.
Well guys, that's it from us here in Bloemfontein.
That's enough from Cape Town.
And we are signing out from the BK Street.
But enough from Umtata.
Well guys, that's it from Park Station.
That's it from Togoza.
But that's it from Pretoria. Now, back to the studio.
The Thank you for your contribution, guys, out there. Some of you know, others, I think you had a brain clog or brain fog. I will try to explain to you the topic of today in a more practical manner. A brain clog, it's something physical that happens to your brain. However, you know when something physical happens to you and it ends up being emotional. So the best way to compare is when you are in a traffic jam, either driving or seated by the taxi, and immediately your mind goes on, I'm going to get late to my work, I'm going to get late to church. I could have been using this time in a so much profitable manner, and you go thinking about the things you're not doing, things you want to do. Though it is a physical situation, you are stuck in that taxi or in the car, it brings to you emotional stress. So brain clog is when you are overthinking and it comes to a point, someone makes you a question and you have that fog moment. You don't know what the person is asking, you need to replay the question, or you need to consider your answer. You don't know what to say because you were either immersed in another thought or you were stressed emotionally. I think all of us have been to that thing, that moment. We would not know how to call it brain clog. It's a very beautiful word. But what can lead you to that kind of condition? That's what we're going to start exploring now. So one of the reasons, I said it.
Yes, overthinking and worrying about things. I think that when we have something at hand that maybe it's on our mind and it's very important to us, something that may not be going well, we worry about it so much. And, we think that sometimes we think worrying about it will bring about a resolution. But in fact, when we worry too much, we fail to actually come up with a solution because our mind is stuck on that particular topic. So we end up worrying and overthinking. They go hand in hand because when you're worried, you are so obsessed with that particular topic or that particular thing. And we forget that life still goes on. As women, we've spoken many times about how we have many roles. Same woman would be a wife, a mother, an employee, a friend, a servant of God. You have so many roles. So other aspects of your life still need to continue. But when you are worried and overthinking on one thing, you end up losing focus on other areas that you need to take care of. As a woman, as a mother, if you're going through something and you're worried about something, your children still need care. And when we are worried and overthinking and we drop the ball in other aspects, it makes us even feel bad about ourselves, feel worse because, I'm so worried about this, I'm not finding a solution for it, and I'm failing, if I can say, in other areas of my life. So that makes the brain clog even worse because I'm focused on this, I don't have a solution because I'm worried about it, I'm stressed about it, and I'm also making other aspects of my life worse. So I think that can make the brain clog. It can cause it, but also if it's already there, it can make it worse.
At the moment, what I'm thinking of or overthinking and worrying about, that we're going to have load shed at any time now. So if the program goes off air, just hold on, we're coming back soon. But that leads me to the second thing. It is overthinking, worrying, and what is the next course of action? We start complaining. And who didn't complain lately about the load shedding? But when we are complaining, we are endorsing in our minds that we are not pleasant with that situation. We only see the negative side. We only see what we cannot do. We only see what is happening to us. And we block our brain to think even about solutions, to think about facts that we take for granted and we could learn to appreciate. And that would play against the negative thoughts that led us to complain. Someone who is complaining, it's more or less like adding poison to something that is already deteriorating. And one example that I can share with you, when we do our training for cancer counseling, because we are all cancer counselors, we are all trained for trauma counseling, we learn that when we are overthinking, worried, and complaining particularly about that physical condition, we are sending from our brain what we would call endomorphins that will end up deteriorating our physical condition. In opposition to those who are led in a traumatic situation or in a difficult moment to think about hope, perspective, positively, then the brain will release those synthetic or those hormones that will make the person to cope with that situation. So all that we are going to realize today, though it is a physical effect, because it's your brain, it results in your well-being or in ill-being, and it also results in more stress or less stress. So we have overthinking, we have worrying, and we have complaining. Sometimes you overthink and you worry, but if you learn how to think in a different way, to find a solution for that, and to appreciate the little things that we take for granted. And I think we spoke about that during the pandemic. We couldn't go out, we couldn't exercise, we couldn't interact with family members. Now we value so much more those interactions, friendship, family. We don't mind about going overseas on a trip, but if I can just spend quality time with family and friends, we are rewarded. That is to focus more on accepting what doesn't go right and also appreciating the things that we have, even if they're little. Something else.
One of the things that is generated when we are overthinking, it's anger. There are people who goes to sleep overthinking about so many things that could happen, never happened, or will never happen, but the person is so stressed that when that person wake up, she is angry at the children, angry at the husband, angry with herself, and doesn't even know why she's so angry. So overthinking leads to overreacting, and anger will make things even harder than could be.
And it's so sad that people don't even know why they are angry about. They just moody, but they can't explain. It's a state of feeling, isn't that?
I think it drives off maybe as well people feeling sorry for themselves, because I can imagine there's no way you can wake up angry. Like, what happened to you at night when you were sleeping? So it's probably something that maybe the previous day or the week before didn't work out. And because that person is in that state of just, oh no, why me? Why is this happening to me? Or if only it worked out. Now, how are people looking at me? What is society going to perceive of me? But maybe people moved on. They're no longer at that state of asking why things didn't work out or how. But that person is so clogged up in themselves, and it even causes their brain to no longer think or function with other things. And I think one of the outlets is that anger, because there's no way that you can say, I went to bed and you had a peaceful night and you wake up angry. It's impossible. So it means your brain at that moment is literally clogged up in that moment of disappointment, maybe an argument, maybe a misunderstanding the previous night, or something that just came up and you need to deal with it the following morning. So that's one of the things that causes a lot of brain clogs. And a lot of people don't look at it because you're so involved in, oh no, if only it worked out, then I would be getting this, then I would be doing that, then I would be going there. And you cease moving out of that moment and your brain is clogged. That's, as you're saying, when you're stuck in that traffic jam, no one thinks to actually stop and think, what if there was something I hate that was going to happen? That I was now being here, I am being protected from it. So when a lot of people are so held up, they don't even see that sometimes missed opportunities or those minor delays were for their good, but they just in that pity worry game and saying, no, it's unfortunate.
And many times One say, it could only happen to me. It doesn't happen to other people.
And
Isn't
maybe
that?
it's for your protection. Maybe in you saying, oh, why me? Why am I stuck in this traffic? There are many times, for example, someone cuts you off on the road while you're driving. And minutes ahead, you meet an accident and you're like, oh my goodness, had I been there that second, that could have been me. So instead of you now being in that pity game, how about you be grateful that maybe in that moment, you have that moment to actually stop and think about something else?
And that leads to another factor.
Yes. One thing also that makes our brains to be clogged is blaming others, right? So for me, I'm trying to process it in this way. When someone hurts me, right, does something bad to me, the brain sort of like the brain is an organ that is meant to protect me. It's meant to protect me from any harm. So person number one hurts me, person number two hurts me, person number three, four, five, they all hurt me. So I'm sort of like in my mind, I'm telling myself all of these people are my enemies. So what happens with the brain is that it cannot differentiate when the thing is happening now or if it happened 10 years ago. So if I keep on trying to remember every time I see Buitumelo, I remember what she did to me, my brain won't say, Buitumelo did this 10 years ago. In my brain, it's like it's still happening now. So the pain that I'm feeling, it's still the pain of 10 years ago, but I'm still feeling it now whenever I see Buitumelo. So blaming others definitely causes a brain clog because your brain is trying to protect you from some harm that is not there. Buitumelo has moved on. But whenever I see her, I'm still in that scenario. I'm still in that same place. So my brain cannot function in a place like that. It will definitely shut off. I will block out Buitumelo and it all starts in the brain. And one thing that causes the brain to be clogged as well is that you don't try to reason or to think, why did that happen? You see yourself as a victim and them as
The
enemies.
victim syndrome.
Yes, the victim syndrome. So whenever you see others as the problem, it prevents me from working on myself because it's she did this, he did this, he did this. Why me? It always happens to me. So then my brain is always in that victim mentality. It will happen to me. So whenever I meet other people as well who mean well, my brain is already telling me, be careful. They are going to hurt you the same way that the others hurt you. So my brain becomes clogged because it does what it's meant to do, to protect. So I don't have a chance to open to other people, to learn other people, to know other people because my brain is already clogged. It's like, I'm not going there. I'm not gonna do this. It's fine. The whole world is against me. It's me against the world. No one is for me. So one of the things, it's definitely blaming others.
And we see how difficult it is lately in a society that we live in a moment that there is a drive to be popular, there is a drive to conquer, there is a drive to please others, how easily it is for us to have a brain clog. So I wanted us to share with them what are some of the consequences of having your brain clogged.
You cannot become a better version of yourself because when your brain is clogged, you cannot see areas where you need to improve. The thing with us as human beings is that we really need to improve. There is a better version of ourselves that we can be. We can always be better. We can always be better than we are right now. We can always improve. But when my brain is clogged, I don't see that. I don't see myself improving. I don't see myself becoming a better version of myself. So I'm always stuck in this place when everybody else around me is going up and to another level and they are growing in themselves as human beings. I'm not because I'm still stuck. So it causes me to never be a better version of myself. So I will never meet that version of myself that I know that one day I will be because of the way my brain is.
I was thinking of how it also impedes you from having positive thoughts. Because in that moment, all you see is negativity, as Tammy previously mentioned. And a person that's only driven through negativity, there's no way that you'll be able to advance in life because that clog always stops you from taking opportunities, trying out new things, making good choices as well. Because all that you think is because it's going to be negative, so how about I make negative choices? So it's things like in a relationship, when you're stuck in a relationship that didn't work out. So then you get into a new one. Before he hurts me, how about I hurt him before? So it brings in self-sabotage. So you forget to have those good choices and your life ends up being in limbo.
So you end up living a life that lacks balance. You don't have balance for anything in your life. You are always or too angry or too emotional, crying for something else. You are all the time. You are always too much for something, and it's very frustrating. I believe to live out of balance, not knowing. For example, go to sleep, don't have a peaceful night of sleep. Go to eat, the food doesn't sit well because the person is stressed, it's upset. Relationships get destroyed because of lack of balance. Balance is everything. When we have balance, we find the right way to go through.
But when your brain is clogged, you
There
don't
is no
find balance. There is no balance. So you can't do good choices. Mostly by experience, when your brain is clogged, you rush into bad choices because you act out of impulse. You act out of desperation. You cannot become a better version of yourself because you are living on the extremes, either too worried or either too procrastinated, and you don't find balance. And
you actually can't see beyond the situation that you're living in. So Tammy was mentioning about how sometimes we see negativity and you're just seeing that everyone is going to hurt you, that you end up looking for hurt where there actually was none. Because in your mind, everyone hurts me, so I'm expecting them to hurt me. So you don't see beyond that life of pain. You don't see beyond that situation that you're overthinking, that you're worried about all the time, because that your mind is stuck in that situation. So you will never have a peaceful life. You will never know a different life than the one that you have in that moment, because your mind is so clogged up that it cannot see beyond. You are not able to step back and see things from a different perspective and say, there is a better way. How about I see myself as a common denominator if everyone is hurting me? How about I step back and try to do things differently? How about I look at what has been a pattern in my life? What is it that I keep doing over and over? And maybe that's the reason why I keep getting the same result. Because sometimes we do the same thing and we think we're going to get a different result. And some say that's madness if you keep doing the same thing and expect a different result.
It's insanity.
So, exactly. So if my mind is clogged, I will never be able to see beyond the situation that I'm living in.
So we spoke about what leads you to brain clog and the consequences. Now we are going to try to help you. How do you clean your brain? How do you get rid? Or if you are on the way or you see that you are already with your brain clogged, how do you reverse the process? Because it is physical, so there must be some things to do, and it results on emotional. So I'm going to ask Tammy, what would you do?
All right, so I have to say that this neuroscience thing.
Today we are very.
it's a very interesting subject for me because there were things that I would do and I would want. Okay, I had a spiritual explanation to it, but then I would also want to have like a more scientific I don't know, maybe a more scientific, like maybe because
Because it's a physical condition.
yes, so like if I lack motivation to do something, then I would try to find maybe a scientific reason why. So it's a subject that I have been on for some time, trying to do my own research on myself. And one of the things that came that neuroscientists always say is that you should get enough sleep, of course, because a brain, it's a physical organ and it needs to rest. So the problem is that so many people, they are overthinking and worried, they are angry, that even when they go to sleep, their brain doesn't go to sleep. And that is extremely important.
I've been there.
Yes, so that is and that causes even more your brain to be even more clogged because you don't get a quality sleep. So one of the things is that you really have to get good quality of sleep. Before you go to sleep, don't go on social media, don't watch TV. Try to calm your mind down, because whatever we see in the news as well, it contributes a lot to what our brain thinks. And eat healthy, exercise, the normal things. Try to exercise your brain. And when it comes to exercise, of course, a lot of people, they want to do it for weight loss. But new research has shown that really move your mind from weight loss, do it for your brain, because exercise works a lot for your brain, how you think, how you process things, the energy during the day. So for me, that's what I found out through my own research for myself. Eating healthy as well, it contributes a lot to the brain. So there are many studies out there that are being developed as we go by when it comes to the brain.
It goes to the point that even certain foods should help you, and other foods, they would really intensify the harm to your brain. Let us just mentioning that drinking and smoking are toxic physically to the brain. What would you do? How to clean?
I have been there, like overthinking, overworrying.
Yeah, because you controller.
Yes.
In progress.
Yes. I have been there, and it is really stressful. And for me to find this balance, it is a daily exercise. It's learning how to prioritize. I would have a to-do list that would not have an end. The night is approaching, and my to-do list would carry on like growing. So one of the things that helped me a lot to find balance is every evening I take a piece of paper and I put in this paper what is it that I need to do. What is it that I would like to have as a task done in the next day? And I presented it to God. In a prayer, I presented it to God. This is everything that I need to do. What of this is important to you, my Lord? What is it that you want me to do? Give me wisdom to do it. Show me how to do it in a practical way, because sometimes we complicate things that could be easy. Okay, you have to do lunch. How many minutes do you have, or how many hours do you have to do lunch? What is it that you can do health and nice in that period of time? So don't go to do something that is difficult and you're not going to fit in that schedule that you have.
Then your brain clog, it's going to get worse.
Yes, so one of the things is to present to God, putting God first in everything, even in the little things. And then I found out that many things on my list, they were not actually necessary. They don't need to be done as tasks. It's not necessary. So I write in a paper and I present to God, what is it you want? And in the next day, my mind wake up clear. I wake up clear knowing what is the priority that I need to do. And I don't add in the list. I remove. I don't add it anymore.
Good. That's a good one. Anyone else? What would you do?
I think I journaled as well, like Miss Alessandra, because I tend, when I have too many things to do at once, I used to be an overthinker, And because I know that I can easily go back to that. So the best thing that I do as well, I get a journal. I have a daily journal where I write all the tasks that I need to do and all the things that are needed. And from there, start putting them according to priorities. But as she said, I present it to God. Whenever I'm flustered and that clog is just there, the first thing that I do is I look for an escape room where I can just go and then just say, God, help me. Like, it's too much. I don't know where to start, how to do it, but you help me. And immediately that calms me down. It's like it just clears my mind and I'm able to tackle what needs to be done.
For you, I'm going to ask something else. How do you clean your mind if you are feeling unfit, inappropriate, or if you didn't achieve what you want and all those bad feelings and thoughts are coming onto you? Because that is probably what some of our viewers are going through.
Now what I have learned is to take a break. And the most important thing, especially when you're feeling inadequate, when you're feeling bad about yourself, when you think you're a failure and you're overthinking things, is for me to think of today. What would stress me out is thinking the what ifs of, oh, I didn't do this right, or I did that wrong, what the consequences would be. And the more I would think about that, it would stress me much more. And it would make me feel even worse about myself. So now I take a break and I try, it's still something that I have to remind myself and exercise, and it's not always, up to now, it's not always easy. For me to think about what is it that I can do today? For me not to try and think of the worst that can possibly happen. What can I do today to make the situation a little bit better, that I can just, like a bite size that I can handle right now? Tomorrow, I'm going to see what I can do tomorrow to handle that situation. Because some things cannot be resolved in that moment. Sometimes you still don't know what the real solution for that issue is. So I stopped thinking the worst. I stopped putting myself down, because then that would just make it worse. And then I can't think beyond that situation. I'm stuck. I can't see beyond it. So I take a break. And the number two, I think of just what I can do today. If today I can make good choices, not to make the situation worse, let me just make those good choices for today. Tomorrow, let me make those good choices for that next day. And next thing you know, a month, 2 weeks have gone past, and the worst that you thought of did not happen.
And I probably wanted to hear from me, isn't that? You were talking to someone who was a born complainer, a born warrior. I would worry about everything, and I would, of course, not be pleased with anything, no value in what I did, and I would complain. So I trained myself to think in every situation or challenge or something that went wrong, what is the worst case scenario? So from a point of view, what is the worst that can happen in this situation? Once I'm making myself aware of what is the worst case scenario and how I would handle the worst that could come out of it. So for instance, I, for some reason, woke up late and I missed that flight. It didn't happen, but in case, what would be the consequences and how I would handle that situation and how I would fix it? So once I prepared myself and I braced myself for the worst, and I made peace with how I would deal with that, then my brain let it go. Because then I know if that happens, and you might be thinking, I never thought about what I would do if I would lose my job today. What I would do if I would fail matric. What I would do if I would miss this Sunday morning. What I would do if this relationship, this dating I am on, I would have a break. I would break off this relationship. So once I confront the worst that could come out of it, and I set my mind and say, this is how I'm going to deal with that, this is what I'm going to do, then it goes out of my mind because I already thought about the worst and I prepared myself. But after the break, I'm going to share with you God's recipe to clean your brain. You might make good use of our suggestions. It might work for you, it might not, But one thing I'm sure, sharing God's recipe, it will work for all of us. So stay tuned.
The higher you build your barriers, the taller I become. The further you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can't deny me, you can't decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my hope was gone, oh no. There's something inside so strong, oh, something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho. Your lies will come tumbling down. Deny my place and time. You squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so brightly it'll blind you. Because there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my hope was gone, oh no. Something inside so strong, oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist that we just not good enough, but we know better. Just look him in the eyes and say, we gonna do it anyway. We gonna do it anyway. We gonna do it anyway. Sizophumelela, sizofinyelela, sizofinyelela. Elele, yo, yo, sizophumelela, sizofinyelela, sizofinyelela. Ngeke basiqede namhlanje, sizophumelela, sizofinyelela, sizofinyelela. Elele, yo, yo, sizophumelela, sizofinyelela, sizofinyelela. Ngeke basiqede namhlanje.
Welcome back to the second part of our show. Now, a test for you. Who of you noticed that Precious is holding this cute teddy bear during the first part of the show? Maybe you didn't because your brain is clogged. And if you noticed, did you realize that we have changed her attire? She is the mascot for season 3. Explain to them a little bit more about this girl.
Okay, so This is our mascot for season 3, and we're very happy to have her. But she doesn't have a name yet, and we're opening this up to our neighboring countries to give her a beautiful African name, and she'll be here for the entire season 3.
Yes, and maybe you didn't notice her. The point was to show to you your brain is so clogged and so worried about everything else that more than 35 minutes went by and you didn't realize this girl was here with us, our crew member now for season 3. Anyway, now I wanted to share with you the recipe from God to clean your brain. I wanted to read for you Romans 12, verse 2. It's a very well-known verse, but it's going to take a new turn in your life today. So let us read together. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Why will you allow your brain to be clogged by so many trends, so many protocols, so many conveniences out there? Worries, overthinking, complaints, low self-esteem, second-guessing yourself is intoxicating your brain and your mind. God is telling, do not conform with that. Do not take it for granted. This is how you need to do. You need to worry about tomorrow. You need to think about your future. You need to be dissatisfied with yourself. And hey, don't forget, there must be someone out there that is to be blamed for your situation. God's saying, stop right there. Do not conform with it, but by the transformation, the renewal of your mind through his word. And his word does not bring positive thinking. His word brings life. Whoever thinks positively for a day, the following day will think negatively. But when you dress yourself, your brain, with the thoughts of God, with the word of God, with the promises of God, then you change the way you see yourself, the way you see others, and now you start loving your brain. Not having brain clog, but your brain will work in a way that the principles and values of God will be your guideline. And this is going to happen, that you're going to approve what you're going to prove, you're going to taste, you're going to live according God's will for your life. And you're going to realize that it's good, it's pleasing, and it's perfect. So you don't need to think about your future. You don't need to worry about tomorrow. God has everything under his control, not mine, not yours. He knows who you are. He has chosen you, and you have chosen him. So his will is perfect for your life, and you are going to enjoy every minute of your life. We gave you suggestions, but nothing better than filling your mind, your brain, with the Word of God. So we hope you put in practice from today on. We gave you some suggestions, but feeding from the Word of God, feeding from the promises of God, will really make you to clean your brain and to align your thoughts and your life to the values of God, to the promises of God for you. Is it too hard? God is going to help you. So we are going to pray for you now, and you are going to pray with us now, so that God may operate in your mind right now. Please close your eyes.
My Lord and my Father, I pray for each and every person that is watching this program right now. Maybe when we first started speaking about loving your brain, they really didn't think much about it, but now they realize the importance of taking care of their mind, taking care of their brain. There are so many people who are suffering out there, my Lord, because of what is in their brain. And they have the power to let go, but they choose to hold on to the hurt, the anger, blaming others, that life is passing them by. They choose to focus on the negative, that they never focus on what is going right in their lives. When so many things, they can be grateful for so many things, for their families, for their job, but they are focused on that one thing that is clogging their brain. So I pray right now, my Lord, that you may enlighten their eyes and may you open their minds and open their brains. There's a lot of work that they will need to do in order to clean their brain, in order to clean their minds. But through your word, my Lord, you will be able to tell them specifically what it is that they need to do, because it is different for each and every one of us. So I ask you that you may lead and guide them in the right paths. And I pray that right now their minds may be open, that their brains may be removed of this clog, and they may be able to think properly. They may be able to see the good things that are happening in their lives right before their eyes. I surrender each and every one of them in their hands, so that in your hands, my Lord, so that they may be able to live the best life that you have for them, not worrying about tomorrow, not worrying about anything, but putting everything in your hands. So I pray right now that you may guide them in everything that they should do in order for them to live a life, my God, that will bring glory and honor to your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. There's a saying out there that goes, love is caring. So that you love your brain, care for your brain. Fill yourself with the Word of God. This is what we have for next week. 1 week, and we are over with November. December is on my mind, because December we have very special, interesting shows for you. And I know it's the year end, and maybe some of you are thinking about Kid December Boss, but you're going to spend Kid December Boss with us, filling your mind with what is profitable, good, and it's going to work for you. This is what we have prepared for you for next week.
Breaking news. It seems that the world has gone crazy. People are jumping off buildings, bridges, you name it. They're getting into debts for vacations, for pictures, even boredom. Not to mention the drinking, partying, getting fired, burning cars. Wait a minute, why would anyone do this? Yes, noted. According to sources, the hashtag YOLO made them do it. Apparently no one resists its influence. Breaking news. It seems that the world has gone crazy. People are jumping off buildings, bridges, you name it. They're getting into debts for vacations, for pictures, even boredom. Not to mention the drinking, partying, getting fired, burning cars. Wait a minute, why would anyone do this? Breaking news. It seems that the world has gone crazy. People are jumping off buildings, bridges, you name it. They're getting into debts for vacations, for pictures, even boredom. Not to mention the drinking, partying, getting fired, burning cars. Wait a minute, why would anyone do this? Yes, noted. According to sources, the hashtag YOLO made them do it. Apparently, no one resists this influence, except those who know about hashtag D2. Wonder what that is? According to sources, there's only one way to find out. This Friday at 3 p.m.
It's time to go, but don't forget, special weekend. This is the last weekend before you do your entries for the photo challenge for the YPG. We didn't forget about that. And we want to see your photos and we want to vote, don't you? I want to vote. You want to vote? Yes. So last weekend on YPG Hangout this Sunday, you're going to have news about that. Until next week then, God bless you all and bye-bye.
The YPG Photo Challenge 2021. We gave you a taste of what is to come. You have already seen the first phase of the photo challenge, with the first category being open for voting before our event. Now it's time to give it all. It's time for phase 2. This weekend, the remaining categories will be opened, and you get to vote on our official YPG Telegram channel, YPG/official/RSA. The best photo will win, but which one will it be? The power is in your hands, so be sure to get voting. YPG Photo Challenge.